What's up guys? So today we're going to continue working on this website, and today we're actually going to implement that dark theme that is in the design. So we're going to change our Sass variables to some CSS variables, and then we're going to use JavaScript to change those live in the browser. That might sound a little complicated, but it's really not that complicated at all. So let's go ahead and jump on into this project and get it done. Alright, so I've got the server up and running here. You can see the web page right here. I'll just refresh it. Everything we got going on there. Let's put it into the mobile view. And the first thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and convert these Sass variables all to CSS variables. Now, the reason we're doing this is so that we can modify those variables live in the browser using JavaScript. So let's go ahead and get started with that. I'm gonna cut these from here and I'm gonna add them back down underneath here. And the reason for that is we need to add a pseudo selector root, and when you're writing in Sass you can't just call it like that, you have to have a backslash. And then I'm gonna nest all of these inside of here. Alright, now we need to go ahead and convert these. So I'm going to convert, this should work easily if we come here. All we need to do is replace this $sign. Oh, this should be nested in there too. Let me grab all of these again. Alright, and all we should need to do here to get this to work is just replace the $sign with 2 dashes. And that should work fine. Now I'm gonna hit save, and when I come over here to the web page, we should be getting an error. It might not show there, but here is the error. We're calling these variables and they've never been defined because we're calling these Sass variables. So what we need to do is come into here and we need to find every instance of a color that was using the Sass variable and just change it using, well, change the $sign to the 2 dashes just like we did there. So we just did that in styles. Let's come over here to default and look for it in here. Let's just look for any $signs, and I'm going to change this one to dashes, this one to dashes. Let's see, there were 7 found in total, so let's continue going through. 6 left. Now we're not going to do this for every variable we have because right now we only have one variable that we don't need to do this for, and that is the font family variable, because that is going to be using Sass. We don't need to use CSS to set that variable. We could, but we don't need to. So I'm going to continue doing this right here. We got one more left. All right, good. That's it for the default file. The next one we need to do is let's go to nav. See, we got 1 in here. Just gonna change that. And then in the footer we've got 5 in here. It looks like 1, 2. Here's one that we don't need to change. 3 and 4. So now I'm going to close these out real quick. Let's open up the terminal. I'm going to stop this server, clear it, and then let's run the server again and see if we get an error. If we don't have an error, then that means we should have, well, everything should work properly. So I'm going to refresh the page. And it looks like everything is, for the most part, working. However, one of the colors looks like it got messed up. So let's come back over here and take a look at this. The background here was using the light 1. We had the font family set up. So what is light 1? Light 1 is this. That's an interesting one. So let's undo all of this in here and just refresh the page. All right, so you see what that is right there. Let's come back over here and redo everything we just did. Okay, light 1, dark 1, background. All right, body is using this. That's what it should be polling, but for whatever reason it doesn't seem to be polling it. Oh, okay, you know why? I totally forgot. the way we have to use these variables is slightly different. So we have to wrap this in parentheses, just like that. So, sorry about that if you had to go through everything and now you have to do it again. My bad. Luckily, in this project, we don't have very many. So let's go ahead and just fix that issue. Now I need to look for 2 dashes. And let's see. Var. Almost done, I hope. That's everyone on this page. That's everyone on that page. The next one we didn't do is this page. So there's a few here. Let's go ahead and just do those real quick. It's really easy to get ahead of yourself sometimes. Really easy. All right. Got that variable, that variable. Here's another one. Okay, that's a cool shortcut. Well, if I didn't screw up, I wouldn't have learned that for a while. So I'm gonna, I'm using the Atom text editor, and I'm gonna write var here. And if you've been paying attention, anytime I hit the first parenthesis, it pops both of them up just like that. But if you select this and then hit the first parenthesis, look at that. There you go. Those of you who have to suffer through this and change a lot of variables, there's a little shortcut that should help with something. Let's continue. Okay. Two more. Whoops. Where'd I go? I suppose it would have been easier if I did that too for all of them, but oh well. Let's go back over here. That looks fine. Refresh, and now we should not see any change if we did this correctly for all of them. Perfect. No change at all. I want to go ahead and well, I think that's actually going to do it for this. So that was all we needed to do to switch over the whatchamacallit, the variables. Sorry again for that screw up, but now we're going to go ahead and get the JavaScript in here so we can go ahead and change those variables. So let's get the, do we have a JavaScript file? JavaScript functions file. Yes, we do. Awesome. Okay, so let me explain what we're about to do here before we go and do it. So I want to toggle between that dark theme and that light theme depending on the time of day wherever the user is. So to do that, what we need to do is we need to get the time from the client, whatever their system's time is, and we need to determine if it's after or if it is this time or after, I want it to be the night theme, or if it's this time or before, I want it to be the dark theme or the nighttime theme. And I'm hoping I didn't just say the same theme twice. I don't know, I'm a little tired. Anyways, to do this, let's go ahead and just get this started here. So we need to go ahead, and I'm going to write another function like this, a self-invoking function. It's going to be, oops, where's my keys? Parenthesis, function. Now the difference between this one and the one up here that we're going to write is we want to give this one a name. So I'm just going to call this theme setter. I don't even know if that's right. Let's just do theme set. All right, cool. I'll do this, set these, and then we're gonna need this at the end. All right, so that was pretty simple, pretty painless. Now we need to go ahead and do a couple things here. First, we need to go ahead and get whatever the time is. So I'm gonna create a variable with that. Well, to do that, it's gonna be var, and I'm gonna call it time, and that is going to equal new date. And then I want to but get hours from it. Get hours, just like that. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to alert time just so we can make sure this is working. Where is this? All right, there we go. There's the time. 19. So that's in military time. So that would be 1900 hours, which is 7 o'clock. And I know it's 7:30. You can see it up here right now. But we don't care about the minutes in between. We just want the hours. So it's 1700 hours, which is 7 o'clock. So that works great. We know that variable is working and this function is running. Fine. Now we need to go ahead and get another thing ready for this that we're going to set up in a variable. So I'm going to call this one var, and I'm going to call it root. We're going to set this to document dot query selector, and we're just going to grab the root just like that, and that should do it. So the next thing we need to do is we need to set up and determine what time we want this to happen, or what time we want certain things to occur. So let's say if, now we need to set the conditions, time is greater than or equal to 1800, well, not 1800, but 18, that would be 1800 hours, which would be 6 p.m. Or time is less than or equal to 6, which would be 6 a.m. We want to do this, whatever is in there. We will set that up in a second. Else, we want to do this. I want to put this down here just for my OCD-ness. All right. So now we need to go ahead and grab, well, let's grab the root. Then we need to do style, set property. Parentheses, and then we need to go ahead and we're going to write this in, and we need to do this for each variable. Okay, so there's going to be quite a few lines that say root.style.setProperty, well, with whatever values. So I'm going to grab the Sass, and let's just make sure we're doing this right. The styles, let's start off with light 1. I think that's the one we're calling down here. Yeah, light 1. Let's just start off with light 1 just to see if this is going to work. Again, we just want to make sure. We're going to grab, well, we're going to set light 1. And then we want to switch this value. So that's what we want to switch it to. I just want to set it to black for now. And this should change the background black when I refresh this page. So 3, 2, 1. There we go. It worked. It is now black. Cool. So before we go and mess up all of this stuff and get it ready, let's just see how many variables we need for each of these. We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we need 10 in total. I'm just going to do all this copy and pasting now. That way we don't have to delete so much. That's 5. Grab this many more. And there we go. That is 10, I hope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cool. Simple. Let's go ahead and grab this and put this all in here. All right, so just to be clear, everything right here in this first if statement is the styling that's going to be for nighttime. Now, everything down here is the styling for daytime. So this is going to be what we have currently set in our CSS. So we're just going to go ahead, take a minute, and get all of these values set up in here. This won't take too long, but it may take a little bit of time. So let's just go back and forth and just grab all this. We don't need to keep filtering for that. All right, there we go. So that is all of the styling set for the daytime theme that we have ready. I have added it here, even though, yes, it isn't here. And the reason we're leaving it in the Sass files right now is for the very good reason. If somebody comes to this website and they have their JavaScript turned off, well, none of these are ever going to get set. So this is the fallback for everything that we've got going on right in here. That is the idea with that. So what we need to do right now is we need to go ahead and open up the Adobe XD file, because I cannot remember for the life of me what colors we need to switch to the exact spots. So let's go ahead and open that up and get that going. So let me find that. That should be in my cloud. Web. Here we go. Alrighty. So let's see. The first thing we need to do, we know that was light 1, so let's just see which one that is. Okay, so we need to switch the dark one to that. So anyways, I'm going to copy this stuff and paste it here. Now we can just swap the values. So light 1 needs to be dark 1. And I'm assuming this just needs to be switched properly here. And I'm just going to go on a limb and say that this needs to be swapped with this. And then we know that we need to swap these two. That's pretty self-explanatory. Let's go ahead and just check the current state of everything. All right, when we swap it, that's not bad. That's not bad. That's a little intense, and we will get to that. And then these cards, I still want these cards to be white, I think. I'm not sure. Maybe. I don't know. I kind of like that, actually, seeing that out with all the thumbnails in it. Kind of like the way that feels a little bit. Let's go ahead and see what else we got to switch. We switch these two, these two, these two. Secondary light and secondary dark. Let's go ahead and, well, first of all, let's see where we're even using this. This is the secondary light 888899. Let's see, where are we using that? Is that this one? 888899. Highlight on canvas. We're using it down here. Okay, so it looks like we're using it in that same spot for both of them, on the light and the dark theme. So what about this one? Secondary dark. Secondary dark. What value is that? 1A, 1A, 1F. 1A, 1A, 1F. Okay. So it looks like that is getting a slightly different value here. Okay. That is correct. This is not correct. So we need to do a little something here to make that work properly. But before we go and do that, let's see what we got going on over on this down here, we've got this stuff swapped out, and I know we can do it with this one, I think. Let me pull that up again. Okay, so to do that, we need to change the colors in the SVG, which I don't think we're going to be able to do. So the majority of this here is done. We just got a little bit of finagling to do here. So that is using, what is that using by default? Let's find our default, and we need our cards. So where's our cards? Video section, about series cards, and these are using, this is the series thumb. I want the whole white. Okay, so this is using white. So I'm gonna name this white 2, I guess. All right, and then let's come over to our styling, and we've got, let's do white 2, and it's gonna need that same value that we got set right here for now. And then we had another element that was doing the same thing, the footer. So the footer was white, but then it turned to black. So we need that one set to white 2, maybe, or do we need white 3 for that? I don't know. Let's fix the cards first to make sure that's working. I don't want to make this too confusing. Okay, so that's using white 2. So now we need to grab white 2. Let's find the JavaScript. This is the white. Let's come down here, set this to white 2, and then I want this to use, this is this one, right? No, that's that text. All right, so we got 1A, 1A, 1F, 1A, 1A, 1F. Let's see if that's gonna work. There we go, that's better. That's what that needs to be. Turn that off so I can see. Correct, awesome. All right, now the only other thing that's wrong with this right now is this little bit here. And let's see, that was using the pure white to begin with, but then we want it to remain white. So let's see, let's just go ahead and, well, first of all, I want to grab this because we need to switch this back. So let's set white 2 back to FFF, FFF. And since I know I'm going to need to do this, let's go ahead and set this as white 3. We need that one to actually be white. And then up here, where is this? White 2, let's do white 3. And we want this to stay white here. And then we also need to come back to our style.sass and add one more white 3. And we're going to set this to that same white, FFF, FFF. Now let's come back to the web page, refresh, and watch as this does not do what we want it to do. Why is that? Because we did not tell it in the footer to use white 3. That is exactly why. So modules, footer, white 3. Just like that. That should work. Background, dark 1. That's fine as the default. All right, that should work. There we go. Looking snazzy. All right. So now we need to, well, I need to show you that this is actually changing because it's doing what I want. I'm hoping, my fingers are crossed. It is doing exactly what I want it to do right now. Right now it is after 6 o'clock, as you can see. So it is showing as, well, it's showing the dark theme. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to change my time to before 6. Let's go like 5. Let's do 5:58 for now. Save that. I'm going to come over here and refresh this page. All right, that's great. And as you can see, the time is before 6, so that's fine. Now let's come over here and change this to just after 6 yet again. That didn't work. That changed it to 5. Let's change it to 6. All right, it's after 6. We'll come back here, and I'm not going to refresh the page yet. And you see how nothing has updated? That is a problem. So if I refresh the page now it's changed to the dark theme. Now, while that may be great for anybody who logs on either before or after 6, that's fine. But what I want to happen is I want this to check and do it itself, because right here, the way this just worked, that kind of gets rid of the whole point of adding in the CSS variables and us changing it ourselves. Because if we were just going to do it just how it is right this second, we could have just added a whole separate CSS sheet with just different values and then just use JavaScript to switch to it based off of what the time is when they loaded the page. But then you're going to have the whole issue of, okay, if I'm on the page and then I navigate to another page, which there isn't yet, but in the future there will be, then it's just randomly going to change to a dark theme. And we don't want that. We don't want them to think they left the page just when they clicked on a different page. So what we need to do here is extremely simple. So let's pull up our JavaScript right here, and down here at the bottom of all of this stuff, right after the else statement, all we're going to do is we're going to set an interval. And this is the reason why we gave this function a name. So I'm just going to say check time. So it's going to run the check time function. Did I call it check time? No, I called it theme set. My bad. Theme set. And now we just need to tell it when to run that. So right now I'm going to run this every 500 milliseconds. So I believe that's every 5 seconds. We are going to run that check. Let's go back to our web page. Let's refresh it. So now it's running that code. Now I'm going to come over here. I'm going to change the time to, again, just before 6. So let's come over here and change it to 5:59. Hit save. And let's see what happens here. All right, you saw that I didn't even do anything. It just switched. My hands are off the keyboard. It's off everything. Let's go ahead and advance the time here to, let's go to 10. That way you don't have to wait so long. I'm going to hit save, and my hands are off the keyboard. I cannot make that any clearer. Watch as the cursor doesn't move. Nothing else happens. And it should change when it hits 6 or a second or two after. Oh, wow. Perfect. Right when it hits 6. So that's great. However, there's still something wrong with this. It's very, very fast. It's just an instantaneous change. And I don't like that one bit. So there is something that we do need to do to fix that issue and make it, well, not so abrupt. So we need to add a transition to this. Now, when I was thinking about this, I was going through my mind and thinking, I think we're going to have to do this in JavaScript, but that's not the case. We don't have to do anything complicated in JavaScript to any of these. All we need to do is in our Sass, we just need to go ahead and set a transition here. So right up here, I'm going to say transition all. Let's go 0.3s ease in out. Well, I don't need the semicolon, but just like that. Now, let's come back over to the web page here, refresh the page. You can see it's still dark because I didn't set the time yet. So now I am going to set this time to 15 seconds before 6. So it should quickly fade to the day theme in a second here. Okay, that didn't work. I don't know why that didn't work though. it should have switched slowly. Okay, so it's still jumping. I think we just need to tell it to inherit the time, or the transition. And that should work after that then. So I'm going to say HTML. Let's go transition, inherit. And I'm just going to set these for some of these main items here. Right, transition all 0.3 transition. Yeah, that's written right. All right, let's give it another quick try and see if that's going to work now. Hopefully it does. I don't want to have to do anything else on this right away. All right, save. Refresh that page. That way it's got the latest code. My hands are off, as you can see with the cursor. Any second now, this should change. There you go. You saw that transition. So that's what I wanted it to do. And everything has changed here. I'm going to set this back to right before. Let's watch it change again. Down here, there, everything changed. So by doing that in the CSS, even though that could be a little time consuming if you hadn't done this ahead of time, thinking this as you've developed this, that might get a little time consuming, honestly, if you have to go back and add a transition for everything. But what that allows you to do is that allows you to get a really fine-tuned timing on every single element in how their color changes. You can set the background to change at a certain pace. You could set the color to change at a certain speed. That's up to you, but you can get that as fine-tuned as you want. It may take a little time though. So I realized this video was a little long, but even though it took some time, what we actually had to do was very simple. So again, all we did was we changed our color variables to, well, from Sass to CSS, and we had to nest them into a root pseudo selector, and then we called that on all of our elements here, and then the only other thing we had to do is add a toggle, and this is our toggle. Yeah, it's kind of a lot of lines of code, but it's only because we're repeating the same line like 11 or 12 times now, actually. Other than that, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines of code that aren't complicated at all. Half of them are just closing characters. Anyways, that's all we need to do to get this theme up and running. I'm pretty happy with this. So yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. It's pretty snazzy, pretty sharp, and you know, it transitions nice and well. Alright guys, so that's it for this video. We've gone ahead and we've changed some of our Sass variables to CSS variables. Yes, they do exist. And we use JavaScript to go ahead and manipulate what those variables are live in the browser. And by doing it that way, the moment we tell that variable to be a different value, it just happens automatically. The page itself does not have to reload for that change to take effect, which I think is amazing. I love it. It's awesome. I want to, you know, get used to working with these variables and figure out something else cool that we can do. But anyways, if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. And if you like the content that I'm creating on this channel, head on over to my Patreon account at patreon.com/Zachary Newton, where you can help support this channel and help me create better videos every week. Until then, I'll see you guys on the next one.